All right, here we have a article from Africa, and it's from, what is this, the CNA, Catholic News Agency, I think, on their African news site. It's a service of EWTN News. So this is something that's going to be pro Opus Dei efforts. And I think this is interesting. I think there are some things we can take out of this article. I think it's pretty easy to determine or deduce why this conference in Kenya is getting so popular. Be Do Care, which when I was reading this, it's everything in me not to just call it Be Do Care conference, started in Rome, arrives in Kenya with focus to move beyond aid and paternalism. This came out August 31st from Nairobi, author Agnes Ania. The Be Do Care, a conference started in Rome in September 2022 to move beyond aid and paternalism, is set to be held in Africa for the first time in October at a 3-day event that the Kenya-based Strathmore University of Opus Dei is to host. Opus Dei has a huge presence in Kenya. Huge. Born with the 28 to 30 September 2022 meeting in Rome with preparation for the 100th anniversary of Opus Dei and the 20th anniversary of the Harambee Africa International, a Catholic development initiative promoted on the occasion of the canonization of Opus Dei's founder. Be Do Care has so far been staged in Sao Paulo and will have a third stage in Nairobi from October 1 through 3. HAI Communications Officer Rosella Miranda told ACI Africa that the event will gather entrepreneurs, researchers, cultural leaders, academics, and civil society representatives from Africa and beyond. The goal, she said, is not just to discuss challenges, but to co-create practical solutions for inclusive and sustainable growth. Be Do Care is more than a conference, Miranda told ACI Africa on Friday, and added, it is a journey that began in Rome in 2022, continued to Sao Paulo in 2024, and will now reach its third stage in Nairobi in 2025. She explained the initiative was born in view of the centenary of Opus Dei in 2028, inspired by the message of the founder, Jose Maria Escrivá, to live faith in daily life and to turn work, education, and social commitment into service for the common good. And Do Be Care, B stands for start with purpose. C stands for act with meaning, while D stands for act with meaning, while C, care, stands for culminate and authentic care for others. You mean to tell me that the only sentence that starts with one of the words, B should start with a letter that starts with B, in my opinion. Do should refer to something that starts with the letter D, and care at least starts with culminate in. Be Do Care suggests that true change comes from being intentional, acting responsibly, and genuinely caring for people and society. Highlighting the importance of the envisioned Nairobi event, Miranda said it will be a special moment to bring together people from Africa and beyond around youth, education, work, dignity, and sustainable development. Themes for the event have been structured around youth unemployment that, according to organizers, is one of Africa's most urgent challenges. Other themes include inclusive education systems, environmental sustainability, infrastructure development, as well as rethinking international partnerships. On reinventing partnerships, Be Do Care proposes moving beyond aid and paternalism to models of cooperation that respect dignity, culture, and aspirations of African communities. Among speakers selected for the conference is Archbishop Anthony Muheria of Kenya's Catholic Archdiocese of Nyeri, a member of Opus Dei. So this is basically just a big ol' Opus Dei event, right? This Be Do Care thing is just a big ol' Opus Dei party, is the impression that I'm getting. Let's see. On day one of the conference, participants will engage on the topics Africa in 50 years, challenges and opportunities, telling the African story, and nurturing a culture of translating research into impactful policies. There will also be education-themed workshops on the day of the conference. One of the envisioned workshops on this day is titled Overcoming Educational Barriers in Low-Income Communities. The theme for the second day of the conference is work. Some of the topics planned include how companies can improve competitiveness, future of work, shaping leaders for the evolving job market, and bridging skill gaps for employment. According to the organizers, the Nairobi agenda has been shaped directly by African partners, ensuring that local voices define priorities and guide the way forward. The highlight of the final day of the conference is the launch of the Be Do Care Hub. So that's part of the country, Africa, Kenya. This part of the world, Africa in general, needs collaborative work, needs people coming together and linking arms to find creative solutions to the challenges that the various countries in Africa are facing, which are very complex. The socioeconomic hill that people have to climb in order to enact change and positive reform in these countries is very, very significant, and it's completely logical to me why so much money goes into funding research and other types of initiatives over there, even things just simple as like getting wells dug for communities so that they can have clean drinking water. And if Opus Dei is authentically and truly contributing to the solution in being over there, then I can take no issue with that. I'm not going to snark on that. But this comes with a huge caveat. Because of what I know, I simply know too much to sit here and read this article and think that everything is hunky-dory and to just trust blindly that everything is going to be fine. Why? Why do I feel that way? Well, let's see. Maybe it's because this organization has a track record of not treating people with dignity and respect. And I can say that that is a fact, at least in one country, in France. In France, it was a fact when Catherine Tissier and 99 other domestic workers who had not been fairly compensated for the years of work and labor that they provided to this Opus Dei center or wherever it was that they worked, this teaching school, won their court case, and Opus Dei, the organization, as well as the Opus Dei people who had been responsible for the entire tragedy in France, had to pay fines. So I am suspicious of this kind of thing, knowing that this organization has a track record of not doing the right thing and not treating people that it employs with dignity and respect, despite all claims to the contrary. I also find it a little bit hard to believe because of what I read in Gareth Gore's book, Opus, The Cult of Human Trafficking and Right-Wing Conspiracy Inside the Catholic Church. It's hard for me to feel good about what Opus Dei is doing in Kenya when I know, based on what Gareth wrote in his book, based on the Tissier court case, and based on everything that's been coming out of Argentina and Mexico in the last few years, that Opus Dei has a very established track record of going into socioeconomically disadvantaged communities, having a great sales pitch, pulling people out of those communities and plugging them into Opus Dei to do whatever they need them to do, oftentimes done under the guise of, hey, you'll get education, hey, you're going to get training, hey, you're going to get to see the world, hey, you're going to whatever, fill in the blank carrot dangling that they might be doing at that point in time. So I have a big problem with seeing this kind of thing and thinking like, oh yeah, Doobie Care is definitely a positive initiative that is only going to be doing good things. I wish that I could say that that is absolutely the case and I could read this article and feel great about it, but I don't feel that way. Particularly when you get further down into this article and it's talking about the topics of conversation at this conference. And one of them, let's see, education themed workshops, one of them overcoming educational barriers in low-income communities. You don't need to have an education if you're going to be trafficked into an organization and sent all over the world to do work for them for free. You don't have to have an education. That's not a barrier that's insurmountable for any organization that isn't interested in following the law. You don't need to have an education to come work for X organization that's going to traffic you all over your country, all over the world. And then the theme for the second day of the conference is work. I'll bet it is work. Future of work, shaping leaders for the evolving job market, bridging skill gaps in employment. I don't read these as positive phrases, positive topics. I read these as very concerning indications of what this organization is doing around the world, particularly in parts of the world without a ton of oversight, without, that maybe don't live as close to that vicious 24-hour news cycle that we do here, where things that are not perhaps the most honest and upright and upstanding can kind of be done under the cover of a sort of media blackout. So my opinion from reading this article, I'm not saying this is a fact, I'm not saying that this is 100% true, this is my opinion based on what I know based on reading this article, publicly available information, my opinion is that nothing that Opus Dei is doing over there can really be that good, particularly when they're producing fruits of a poisonous tree. I believe they're fruits of a poisonous tree. If you want to get up to speed, you don't understand why I have the perspective, you think I'm wrong, please come and join me down the 5-year-long rabbit hole that I have gone down. Please come and join me. If you don't understand, don't come into my comment section saying that you've only had good experiences. I'm sure you have. Lots of people have. But that does not mean that there is not something extremely disordered going on. I have an opinion and a belief that there is something disordered going on, and I'm going to continue to talk about it until something substantive changes. And I do not like this kind of thing. I do not like be do care, do be care, whatever. I don't like it. That's my opinion. You're free to disagree with it.